Hi, I am Kanika from Bakes by Kanika. Let's learn how to make a super soft and tasty milk bread today. That too with spinach and beetroot spiral pattern in between the bread loaf. But before we start this exciting recipe, please press the like button and subscribe to my channel if not done already. So let's begin with our recipe. So the first step is to activate the yeast. We will take 100 ml of lukewarm water, 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of yeast. Then we will mix the mixture and cover it and keep it for 5 to 10 minutes till it becomes frothy. I have used instant yeast here. Now let's make the bread dough. I have used a stand mixer here. You can do it by hands also. So we will take maida or all-purpose flour. Then we'll take milk powder. Then we'll add sugar. I have used caster sugar here. Then we'll add salt. Now we will add the activated yeast mixture. See how bubbly and frothy it has become. So we will add the whole mixture into our dry mix. Now we will add the ice cold water. I always use ice cold water while kneading the dough, as while we knead the dough already becomes warm. So when we knead the dough, it becomes warm, and if it becomes too hot, then our dough will rise too much and too quickly. So we don't want a dough to rise too quickly, else your dough will not be properly fermented and the yeast will start working too rapidly and it will not give a good flavor to the bread, and also the top surface doesn't become too shiny. So I will always suggest using ice cold water while kneading the dough. After 5 to 7 minutes of kneading the dough, you will see that the dough has become smooth, elastic and non-sticky to touch. So we will just stretch the dough and we will see whether it is breaking or not. So we say that it is a window pane test. So when we'll stretch, the dough should not have small holes, or we say that it should not have windows in it. So now we will add our extra virgin olive oil into the dough and we will again start the kneading process, and so till the time all the oil becomes absorbed or all the oil gets absorbed into our dough. It will take another 2 to 3 minutes. So as I have already said that this process, the kneading of the dough can be easily done by hands. It's just that it will take slightly longer time to knead using your hands. I have shown the kneading, how to knead it by hands in my kulcha recipe. So you can just go there and have a look. Now you can see that after the oil getting absorbed, it passes the window pane test beautifully. That is when it's stretched, it doesn't break in between. So now we will take out this dough on a countertop and we will make it into a smooth ball. So now this dough will weigh approximately 900 to 925 grams. So we will divide this dough into 3 parts. So one part will be approximately 450 grams and the other 2 parts will be around 225 grams to 230 grams each. Now we will grease a bowl and we will put the larger ball of dough, that is the 450 grams one dough, into a greased bowl and then cover it with a plastic cling foil wrap and keep it aside for proofing. So now we will take the other ball of dough, that is the smaller ones. Now we will take that dough and we will add the spinach powder. So this I have used spinach powder, dehydrated spinach powder. So this does not have any chemicals or added color or anything. So this is your pure spinach powder. So I have added this to give a green color in that spiral. So you can even use a spinach puree. I will later on post a video how to use a spinach puree in this particular recipe. But for the time being, I have used a dehydrated spinach powder for giving the swirls. So we will just add it and we will just mix it in the in the kneader for just 1 or 2 minutes, and everything will become incorporated into it. You can do it easily using your hands also. So if you feel that the powder is not mixing properly, what you can do is you can take that 1 tablespoon of powder, the spinach powder, and just add 1 tablespoon of water into it in a small katori or a small bowl, and then mix it using a spoon, and then add it to your dough. So that will get incorporated very easily. However, I have added straight onto it because my kneader does it easily. So if you feel that your dough is slightly dry, you can just add 1 tablespoon of water into your dough and it will get mixed properly. See how beautiful green color has come. This doesn't have any added green color. It is just a simple spinach powder. Similarly, I will take the other dough and we will add dehydrated beetroot powder. So I have used this beetroot powder. You can have a look. It is dehydrated and it does not have any chemical or added color into it. You can just have a look. It is a dehydrated beetroot powder. So similarly, you can also use, and if you want to use the original vegetable of beetroot, I will post a recipe in my later videos. Similarly, if you are facing a problem in incorporating dry powder into your dough, you can just put it in a katori and mix 1 tablespoon of water into it, and the powder will get mixed into water and then added to the dough. It will get incorporated very easily. Now you can see all our 3 doughs are ready. Beetroot, this is spinach, and the normal white flour bread dough. So you will just put it in 3 separate bowls in a greased container and cover every dough with your plastic wraps. Also apply some oil onto the dough so that it doesn't dry out while proofing. So we will now keep these 3 doughs in a slightly warm place and we will wait till it doubles in size. So usually in a hot weather it will take approximately half an hour, and in cold weather it might take from 1 hour to 1.5 hours. So once the dough has risen to double its size, we will take out the dough onto a flat counter surface. So we will cut the white dough into 2 parts and we will roll each of the part into a rough rectangular pattern. Now we will keep this dough, the rolled dough onto the side, and we will roll the other white part in a similar fashion and approximately of the same size. Now we will do this similarly for the spinach and the beetroot dough also. So we will not divide this dough, we will just take the dough and simply roll the dough into a rectangular form as we did it for the white dough, and similarly we will do it for the beetroot. So now let's start arranging the pattern. We will take the white sheet, then we'll put the beetroot sheet over it. So we will just stretch it and slightly make it of the size of that particular white dough. You will just see that whenever we roll the dough, it slightly contracts. So we will have to slightly stretch it using your hands and make it of the size of the white dough. Now we will add the spinach dough similarly, and we will also stretch it to fit it into the white and the red dough. Now we will add the second white sheet on top of it and stretch it and make it of the size of the remaining doughs. Now we will cut it into two halves, or approximately equal halves. Then we will just lift it and put it on top of each other like this. Now using the rolling pin, we will slightly elongate the dough into a rectangle format only. Now we will start rolling the dough into a tight roll like this, and this will create beautiful patterns into your bread loaf when baked. Now I have taken a bread tin and I have applied butter on all the sides of the bread tin, including the bottom. So you have to apply butter and not oil, because butter helps in preventing the bread from sticking when it bakes. Otherwise it becomes extremely difficult to take out the bread from the tin. So it's my advice, always use butter while baking your bread. Also, I use parchment paper at the bottom of the tin. This is an insurance that your bread will definitely come out of the tin. So I have just cut a parchment paper of the size of the base of the pan, and I have just put it, and I will just now butter that butter paper or a parchment paper as well. Now we will put this roll of dough into your pan, and we will press it slightly so that it approximately fills the size of the pan. Even if the sides are left, don't worry, when the dough will proof, it will fill up the pan. So we will now just apply some oil on top of it so that while proofing, or it will not dry on top. So, and we will now just apply some oil, and then we will just cover it with a cling wrap or a plastic wrap so that the dough can now rise in a humid and moist warm environment. So approximately after 30 minutes to 40 minutes, you will see that the bread has filled the pan, and when pressed it bounces back slowly. So this means that your bread is ready to be baked. Now we will apply some milk, plain milk, on top of the bread. It gives a very beautiful brown color to the bread when it bakes, and also it keeps the top of the bread moist so that it gives a very good oven spring while baking the bread. Now you may sprinkle some white sesame seeds and black sesame seeds on top of it, or some oats on top of it, as per your choice, or you can even leave this bread blank or nothing on top of it, and we will just before baking. So this will give a very beautiful texture and a color to your bread. Now we will bake this bread in a preheated oven at 220, that is 220 degrees Celsius, for first 10 minutes, and then reduce the temperature to 200 degrees Celsius and bake for another 25 minutes. So total of 35 minutes we'll bake this bread. Also, I have introduced steam into the oven. For that, what I have done is I have preheated the tray along with the oven, and then I have taken hot boiling water and poured the hot boiling water onto the tray while baking. So initially we need the steam for initial 10 minutes so that it gives a good oven spring, that is the bread rises properly and it gives a good height to your bread. Now we need to cool this bread on a cooling rack or a wired rack for approximately 2 to 3 hours minimum, and preferably overnight, as this will help the bread to perform its structure properly as the cooking continues even when we take out the bread from the oven. So it is always a best practice to cool down the bread for minimum 2 hours before slicing your bread. So isn't this an impressive bread? Once cooled, enjoy this bread, this yummy and delicious spiral bread with your family. So please press the like button and subscribe to my channel Bakes by Kanika. Also, you may post your queries in the comment section. So bye for now till we meet again. See you. Bye bye.